Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of the new Pickleball show, Pickle Juice. I'm your boy Zook, and I'm happy to be here for another episode of some pickleball conversation. We've had some great guests. Tonight is another one. I am super excited to be joined by the number 11 singles player in the world, my new good friend, Mary the Mystic Brascia. Mary, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Good. What do you think about Mary the Mystic Brascia?
You know, this is a new one. This is a new nickname, but I kind of like it. I'm vibing with it. It's cool.
Do you have other ones? Do you have other nicknames?
With Mary, a lot of things rhyme with it. But I've always been called Mare Bear. It's kind of cringe, but it's fine.
The reason Mystic comes to mind for me is I was in the chat this weekend, and as I said when I reached out, I fell in love with you and Eric, and I thought you were going to pull off that and crazy upset. I was in the chat just screaming, "This is magical! This is Mystic! I can't believe this!" And we were going crazy and we were celebrating. And then Mary the Mystic just stuck with me, and suffice to say, I'm happy you like it, or at least you're telling me that you like it.
No, I like it. I like it. And that's so kind of you to be rooting us on in the chat because it was a close battle.
It
So.
was. It was, and I'm sure one that um you'd love to have that opportunity again because it was right there, and I know you guys can feel it, and I hope that gives you guys confidence, both of you guys individually, and if you ever play together as a team, that you can take the best of the best to a third set, right?
Oh, for sure. I'm super stoked because that was a first time partnership for Eric and me. And we're going to play together in the Nationals tournament in November, which is in Indian Wells. So that's like kind of one of the biggest tournaments of the year. So I'm just happy we get to run it back in November. And yeah.
We'll deep dive the match that you had with Eric that we're talking about and the future a little bit further into the show. But first, if you'll allow me to have some fun, I want to test out a new segment with you, and it's called Name That Dance Move. So I am going to show a random dance move that you may or may not be a part of. And you have to tell me either what was the name of it, what was going through it, what's your relationship with the person
Oh,
in the video. But let me just bring this up and you could tell me what this is.
oh my gosh. The famous Lee Whitwell. He's known for making TikToks, and I was a guest, and I don't know what to call that, but it was a fun time, I guess.
I love seeing stuff like this. You learn, and as I've learned more about the players on tour, the camaraderie that you guys have, it's so like down to earth and just the everyman type mentality where in other professional sports you may not see people on their off time making videos like this, but in between matches with people that may have just been your opponent, literally 30 minutes before, I always see people chopping it up and having fun. So it was super fun to watch this. We're having Leon next week. Her personality is one that is incredible, and she's someone that I'm super excited to get the chance to talk with as well.
Oh yeah, Lee is a riot. I think she's so funny and she's such an awesome player, and that is the thing about pickleball, which and I know it's just the most special community. I mean, people are so supportive and uplifting for the most part, and it's just something great to be a part of. So, yeah.
Everyone can play it, and because everyone can play it, that means that there's always someone like you playing the game, so you can identify with someone else playing the game. There's stories that I always tell of people, including my mom, who's not really active in any other sport, but she's able to, just take a paddle and hit it over the net, and that sense of accomplishment is super great. And it's that thing where even you as a professional are playing it at the highest level. I'm sure you can appreciate those amateurs or those recreational players that are just getting hooked to this sport that you love.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love playing 8 hours a day, and I see people at my club, the same people every day. They just can't get enough, and it's a blast. So, yeah, I appreciate that so many more people in the country, and hopefully, like, I know it's growing more globally, but everyone needs to be playing pickleball. Like, it's just the best.
I couldn't agree with you more. My friend circle isn't big. I'm not that much of a guy that likes to go out and have too many friends. But now that I've been playing, 3 hours a day, 3 or 4 times a week at this same spot, there's now 15, 20, 25 people that I'm seeing on a weekly basis. And, we have group chats going, we have texts, we have phone conversations. Even when we're not playing, like most of the fun is like I'm excited for when I'm not in on the games and it's my time to sit out because I'm sitting out with 10 other people that now I'm friends with. So the fact that that pro aspect is still met with anybody can play throughout their entire lives, no matter what the age, and there's never really that fall off level that you find with other sports, is what is that spark that we all know has made it the fastest growing sport, like you said, in this country specifically.
Yeah, it's so awesome. I even know last night I had been, training, but then at night, because I kind of like to do two a days where I train a little in the morning, do something at night. And after my session at night, a bunch of us just went to a restaurant, got to hang out. And it's just that camaraderie is just so fun. And also, you just have friends of all ages. I'm only 22, but I find that I get to interact with people of like lots of different ages in the sport. And I just love that. It's
I'm
awesome.
28 and my not my main partner, but again, someone that I met at the place where I play, the park. If my main partner isn't there, the second person that I'll play with is this older, like 48-year-old woman named Karen. And like I have as much fun playing as her as I do with my friend.
Yeah.
She's just as good as my friend. And I thoroughly look forward to when I get texts from my friend saying that he can't make it because then I'll get there and I'll know that I'll get to play with her. So I couldn't agree with you more. But when you first played pickleball, because I know you got in through tennis, you played tennis your whole life, you were a college tennis player. How quickly did you get hooked into this sport?
So my family introduced me to pickleball kind of during the lockdown of COVID, and my sister really was into it first, and we're doubles partners, but
Yep.
then I was kind of hesitant at first. I was like, "What is this?" Like, I'm focused on tennis, but then honestly, a few days into giving it a go, I was like, wow, this is so fun. And I personally love the strategy of pickleball versus tennis where you dink and drop and the quick hands at the net and just the game itself I find more suited for things I liked in tennis, like the you know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say, kind of those aspects of tennis. So now that I get to do it all in pickleball, I mean, it's just my passion in life. Like I'm obsessed. So,
So
yeah.
you're really a case of the perfect storm where you just got happened to be shown a sport that took everything from another sport that you already had good skills at, but really everything that you were really good at that sport, like you're saying, are the key aspects, like you're saying, dicking, kitchen control, stuff like that. That it just makes sense. Obviously, if you're better at one thing, you're going to start gravitating towards that. You brought up Maggie, and one thing I wanted to ask you about her is you say that you guys play doubles partners together. I know some mixed doubles you have played against each other. Obviously, you play singles as well. What's that level of camaraderie versus competitiveness that you guys have? Because I know it is such a family game for you.
Yeah, I think we have to play each other so often in mixed doubles and tournaments. It literally just happened at the last tournament and she took me out, so I was pretty bummed, but also at the same time, we talked about this with each other. You're even in the match and you're like, "Well, I want to win, but I also want Maggie to win." And then it's just awkward and we love each other and we've had our moments as partners ourselves where we have, gotten mad at each other because playing with a sibling or spouse is hard, but um, now we're in a really good place where we're really vibing and just enjoying the journey. And I mean, it's just such a special thing to get to have my sister in the sport with me. So,
It's fun when you have a partner that you would literally trust with your life, right? You
yep.
you can ultimately trust them to tell you that the ball's out, right? If you
Yeah.
would trust them with your life. So you really can't find a much better partner with that. But okay, so you were tennis, as you said, you got into it because your family, specifically Maggie, taught you the sport. You didn't know if you were gonna love it. You got hooked. That's the story. Between that time and really becoming a top tier professional, how much time passed in between that and what was going on then?
It was kind of just that whole thing of balancing finishing school and graduating from college and playing college tennis. And I'm so thankful for that experience, but also at the same time, just kind of grinding away on the pickleball court. I would have tennis practices in the morning and then get to the pickleball court at night. And I'd be so sore and exhausted, but pickleball is always just so fun. And even on my most tired days, I would still want to be on the pickleball court. So that's kind of where I've been for the past 2 years because I started, like I said, in 2020. So yeah.
What were those final conversations like and who were they with when you officially finally said, "Okay, done with tennis, officially going pickleball"?
I mean, I've had this kind of goal and dream ever since I really realized, like, oh, I can actually maybe do something with this and not just even playing. I just think the opportunities in pickleball in general are just so awesome. There's so many things that are just growing with the sport. And I feel like even throughout my last tennis season, I'm like loving tennis, but I'm like, okay, I'm almost able to go on the tour. I'm almost able to travel. So I don't know. It's just been kind of a process.
So you got to go on tour. That's what you ultimately wanted to do. You find yourself on the MLP. Uh, just
Yes.
recently got traded. Can you talk a little bit about that going from the Jackrabbits to the Mad Drops? I know that was probably for the last 72 or however many hours it happened, kind of the talk of the pickleball world.
Yes, it's kind of funny because my sister was the first trade in MLP
Wow.
history from the first one, and then now I'm traded for the second one. Um, I think it's just kind of a fun thing to have these trades. It's entertaining, but while I'm really sad because I enjoyed the Jackrabbits and my teammates, and we had a lot of fun in Newport Beach, and of course to leave my sister, I'm sad, but I'm stoked for this group we have on the Mad Drops. And let's add Drew Brees is one of the owners. So how cool is that? Yeah.
It's would you ever have thought when your sister walked you into wherever she walked you the first time that you ever picked up a paddle and started hitting a wiffle ball that you would sit here and say, "I'm a professional athlete who Drew Brees just traded for"?
Never. Never. No.
And it's it's awesome. Like that I'm not getting, like, too deep or too crazy, and I don't wanna, like, quote, unquote, throw out words like American dream, but, like, you found something you loved, and now you're doing it professionally, making, hopefully, a living on it, something that can sustain yourself, and you can just focus on that at some point, and on a team that's owned by one of the greatest athletes of the modern era, it's like, wow, and over such quick period of time, right? You said basically 2 years?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like it's all moving so fast, the sport's moving so fast. I'm very thankful and I always want to thank like not only my family and sister, but I had an still he is my coach. Dan Roditti's his name. You
Okay.
may have heard of him.
Yes.
And just other friends that have like really introduced me to the right people and taught me the right fundamentals in pickleball. But like you said, it is my passion, and to be able to do something you love in life, I feel like is the goal. And I've always been given that advice to find something you love to do. And now I'm literally doing it. So dreams come true.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. I can see you literally like smiling when you're talking about it. And it makes me smile because
Yeah.
I could see how happy you are, which is fun. Um, you know, another thing about going kind of from tennis to pickleball, you're one of these newer school professional pickleball players where you really didn't have much time in the tennis space, any like professional setting. You kind of your first world and your first deep dive into the professional scene was right into pickleball. In 5, 10 years from now, the next 22-year-old Mary, when they're sitting here, is that person most likely going to have followed your route, going in straight through pickleball, or is it going to be someone who comes maybe in through at another athletic feat and makes their way into this sport maybe as plan B?
Ooh, that's an interesting one because I feel like the tennis wave of like people who um just see the potential to like transition over to pickleball, it's already here, and like I think it's still to come. And as the sport as wow, I can't speak. As the sport keeps growing, people are going to keep coming. But I think pickleball is there is a learning curve, and there are certain things about pickleball that, the people who focus on pickleball are going to do better than people who just show up and think they can just like play pickleball. But I will add also singles, which I know you probably know this, but that is a much easier transition from tennis.
Yes.
Doubles, I personally find like this is a different game. So,
It's it's almost two different sports, and a common theme that we've been talking about on this show is one thing people got to get used to when they come into the pickleball world, and I wonder if you feel the same way, specifically just even fans that come from the tennis world, is doubles is kind of the standard here. Is that true?
yeah, I guess, yeah, kind of, yeah.
Because I just think that more people in recreational play tend to play doubles for whatever
Oh,
reason it
yes.
is. So then I'm just of the belief that more people are gonna flow to watch whatever they play, obviously. So like you're saying, although some people just think like, hey, I played tennis, I can easily go play pickleball. Sure, there's things that translate, and with singles, it's very common. But if this thing is mostly doubles, there's a lot of minutiae that you don't know coming in that you could struggle with right away, that there really is a ton of skill to this.
Yeah, like I just have so much respect for the people at the top of this game because they are just masters of like the dinking. They just don't miss, they don't miss a drop. And that's the thing that when you get to the higher level, it's just being so consistent, but at the same time, like being super aggressive. And that is going to be the benefit for people coming from a tennis background is that I'm noticing that I need to work on my aggressive part of my game. And it's just faster now. So there's
It
just so
yeah.
many elements.
Yeah, it's tough to like take some things from tennis and then leave other things because you're used to, if you're doing it one way, you're doing it all one way. But you're like, oh, I can use this a little bit, but I
Yeah.
have to fine tune it. So, it's kind of a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but a lot still to be learned. And I'm someone that came from tennis. I've been playing for a while, but the skills that are needed are like you I think tough to it, like you said, become professional and get really good, but at a base level almost anyone can play, and that's what differentiates it from other sports. It has the separation where the elite can still be the elite, but the recreational can play for literally as long as they need to.
For sure. Yeah.
So you chose the MLP tour. You're on the med drops now. Can you talk to me a little bit about the different circuits. I'm still getting a grasp into how they're intertwined and how you can be a part of one, but then on the schedule you're playing in in the PPA, and then in another week you're playing in the APP. So, if you could give a little bit of like a general thesis on the three and where you kind of fit into that and how your schedule works.
Yeah, so in my opinion, there are kind of three big entities. Would that be the word? I don't know.
Yeah, leagues, conferences,
Something like
entities.
that
Yeah,
of like pickleball tours. There is MLP, which is constantly growing. All three are growing. APP Tour, which is the majority of the events I will be at this fall because I am traveling the next 8 of 9 weeks, just playing some pickleball tournaments,
let's
living the dream.
go.
Let's go.
Go.
But then the last one is the PPA Tour, which is the event I was just at. Uh, Kind of all going for, the same thing, to just have professional pickleball at the highest level at their events, and they do have amateur events at them as well, not MLP, but there was an event kind of coinciding with the last MLP in Newport Beach called the Duper Waterfall, which you might be familiar with
Yeah.
Duper, and that was like an event to go along with it. So lots of things going on. Where I kind of fit is I am not attached to a single tour. I kind of can just do which ones I have the opportunity to do. And I personally like that at the moment. I'm enjoying playing whatever and having just trying to set myself up for the best opportunity to do well, because I'm kind like we've discussed, I'm kind of a newer person on the pro scene. I'm really just trying to enjoy it. I don't know. Like
No, I get that. And you say that you're happy and where you are, kind of in that wild, wild west area of not attached to any, but is there any anxiety that comes from the unknown, or are you so just like, this is it? Like, this is my shot. I'm going for it.
Well, that's the thing about, different players have different circumstances, and there are players that are more bound to one tour. And I think that's also an awesome thing because you just know where you're going, you kind of know who your partners are, and it's great. Actually, the partner thing I feel like is always fluctuating for people. Like it's kind of always changing. But yeah, I'm happy where I am right now, and I feel like things are constantly changing. Like what I thought the schedule would look like at the beginning of the year kind of like changes throughout the year. Things are just always changing. So, yeah.
I hear the passion that you legitimately have for every single question or statement that you make about this game, and I can literally tell that you love it. Um, a
That's good.
a constant question that I have though is it scary to ever turn a hobby and something that you love so much into a professional, like, now, like, eat what you kill type thing, where now this is serious, right? Like, you lose a professional match, that's like a professional match where, like, you win to make money or you win to, bankroll potential futures things. Like, what I'm trying to say is this is for real now. Does anything get lost in that transition? Was there any time that you almost said, whoa, 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 this is maybe too much for something that, I was just having a lot of fun with and loved?
That's so funny because I feel like I have my like life conflicts or whatever all the time where I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing this or whatever? And I guess to answer that, it's just a journey. And recently for example, I haven't done as well in singles recently as I did when I kind of had some success in June. And it's a pressure thing when you start, thinking, oh, I am in this, and you have expectations for yourself. You put a little more pressure on yourself, and that is where the fun can go away. And I just never want that to happen because pickleball is the best and it has brought so much joy to my life. So I just have to keep reminding myself that, like, man, I am really lucky to get to be doing what I'm doing and just to like enjoy the process, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But there are definitely times where I'm like, I don't want this to become something I don't like, because that would be really a bummer. And I hope that never happens.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that, and that sense of added responsibility is only human nature. You're not still in school anymore, right?
I'm not. I'm done.
So you're
No.
doing this, are you doing anything else other than pickleball, or is this now foot to the pedal, like all gas, no brake?
I'm very lucky to have the opportunity to kind of give this a shot
It's
for the
awesome.
next couple of years. So, yes, but I did have a part-time job this summer. I was working well, anyway, was working for Duper,
Okay.
and I'm still like with them in ways, but doing content creation and helping them with that. So it's so awesome to like help them as well and do a little side thing in pickleball.
No, that's fun. And Jiggaman put up a question. I want to make sure to get to it. And you can answer this one specifically and just more in general in terms of like if there was multiple different of those major tours happening on the same weekend,
Mhm.
is this the reason you're choosing them, or is there another reason why you're choosing them? Like what would go into that?
Ooh, do I pick tournaments? Let's see. I I think for myself, there are certain tournaments that if you look at pickleballtournaments.com and you
Yep.
see the field and you're like, what sets me up for the best success? And you see who's going to where. And there's a couple of those coming up this fall where there will be different people at different events. And I guess that's kind of how you do it. You just kind of see, oh, which field can I do the best in? But also for me, I do pick tournaments based on places I want to go. I
That's
don't
so
know.
cool. That's so cool. That's so cool. Um, so what's like the normal week? Like, talk to me about like you're a full time going for it pickleball player. Like, let's say it's a Monday and you're going to be traveling on a Thursday for a weekend tournament. What's the general week of a legitimate full time professional pickleball player kind of look like?
So I right now I'm kind of doing a 2 session a day thing where I'll drill. And drilling includes, just kind of not playing actual games, but just working on your shots. And I'll do that with one or two people because if you bring that fourth person, you're going to like automatically just be like, no, we're playing.
Yeah, I
That
feel
is
that
not the
so
goal.
much. I feel that so much.
Yeah, that is not the goal. Sometimes singles drilling is cool. And then I will usually have a game in there for the second part of the day. So then in between, I'll rest, get some food, and kind of just work on strength, which, man, I probably shouldn't say that because I'm lacking in that right now. I like lifting and stuff too. So just kind of trying to set your body up for success as well because those tournament days are long and hot in the summer. Yeah.
And how badly do you want to get to number one in the rankings?
Oh, that would be amazing. I would My goal is to just to get as good as I can get, and if the results come with that, that's gonna be awesome. So, yeah.
Do you guys take the rankings and even the seedings at individual tournaments to heart, or do you guys think it's more of like a general ranking of somewhat tiers now?
In my opinion, I think there's a couple different ranking systems out there, and that's a big thing that's being talked about, I think, in the pickleball community is trying to find the most accurate one. So when I see the rankings, I definitely think they're pretty accurate, but sometimes I don't know, things seedings, who knows? Like I
Do
don't
you
know.
be honest with me? Do you ever look at where you get seated and look at people seated on top of you and like text Maggie and be like, I
Oh
can't
my
freaking believe that these people are seated on top of us?
Oh my gosh, no, they're accurate. Like I'm not trying to sound like correct. Like they're pretty accurate. I think the hard thing is because Maggie and I don't we haven't been able to play as many tournaments like even in the spring and they kind of go by the year of rankings. We're having to like kind of play catch up right now and like trying to get points and trying to get more so we can like set ourselves up to get a higher seed. That would be awesome because it's tough. Like every team is good and so if
Yeah.
you do have that higher seed, it can help.
Yeah, it really
So,
can.
obviously.
Yeah. When you came from tennis, were you doing singles or doubles or a mix?
Yes, I was doing both singles and doubles, and in tennis, in both, I lobbed so much. Like,
Oh
all
god.
I would do
Yeah.
is lob. And so I'm kind of hoping that in pickleball, I can become kind of like Callan, if you know Callan
Yeah,
Dawson,
yeah,
and he's like the lob master, so he's
yeah.
my inspiration. And
There's nothing my partner see, that's so funny because 'cause we're the same with that. There's nothing my partners hate more than they know I like to lob, and then, like, if I hit my first one of the game, like, you want me to mess up my first one because then I won't do it again. Like, if I magically hit my first one in, then every single shot, I'm going for it, and we know the
yeah,
success rates of those are so low that it's just like, it's a habit you gotta get rid of, I feel that.
yeah, like, oh my gosh, I have a lob and I use it in rec a lot, but it's just the point of like, okay, now I'm going to use it in the tournament because sometimes the rec to tournament transition is tough. Um,
Yes, yes.
that's just, I feel like, common knowledge. Tournaments are different than
It's
practice.
a different beast. People always say, a lot of the people that recently have gone from rec to the pro have said there's no jump that even simulates that difference. I'm going from a recreational practice game to an actual on tour pro match. So I've heard that for before, and you're just echoing that sentiment. So I get it. And the reason I asked about singles and doubles, how you came into this, is because I know the normal way right now is most people play both because these tours are mostly are one day is singles, one day is mixed doubles, one day is same gender doubles played all the way through. One, before I get into my follow up, do you like that setup the way it is, how you have that mix of really everything in a burst on an individual day?
Yeah, I actually do a lot. I think it's fun.
Okay, so you might not
Yeah.
like my thesis, but my thesis
Oh,
is, and this part isn't the thesis. I think it's fact. We both know that this thing is growing. It's the fastest growing sport. And whatever the stats were in 2021 and 2022, I mean, 2021 and 2020, we know 2022 is going to blow them away. My
mhm.
thesis is as it grows, it becomes more of a niche sport where instead of maybe going for a whole weekend to play everything, there's so many people that you really need to focus on one. If that became what this sport was, which of those three, mixed doubles, same sex doubles, or singles, would you choose to go full time if that was the way?
Okay, if your thesis is correct, which personally I'm like, ah, I love everything.
Let me put my
Um,
hand up before you answer real quick because my
okay.
thesis is slowly coming to a standstill because you're now every single person has answered the same way where they love that differentiator that you go to a weekend and you play
Yeah.
everything. So a thesis that I was quite strong in, I'm now slowly fading away from. But let me hear your answer if my futuristic world was to become true.
If your futuristic world was to become true, I would probably want to focus on doubles more because I just find it fun to have a partner, and I really do love mixed doubles too. Like, I just think it's the role that I liked playing mixed doubles, which is kind of like set up the guy to like put the ball away. Like, it's kind of fun. So, I don't
I
know.
That's so interesting that you bring that up, and let's just talk about that dynamic of mixed doubles because I went to my friend's apartment this weekend when the TOC was streaming and they had two TVs and a laptop and I was able to convince them to put the TOC on one of the TVs and we were
Nice.
streaming it and we were watching mixed doubles and we saw sometimes that yeah the man was covering maybe 75% on his forehand and the female like you said was really there to either set up or play some sort of defense on the side of the court. What when you're dealing with mixed doubles in a setting where I don't know if this is true, but some may think that the males on average are more athletic and maybe have higher skill. Like, what is everyone like you? And is everyone so willing to like play a role? Or is there any bit of, that struggle there that people really want that 50-50, even if it's against what's best for that makeup?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a person to person basis. Like, certain people like the 50-50. Certain people, like myself, are just like, you take every ball you can because you are a lot taller than me and you can put the ball away with more power than me. So, um, yeah, I just love the game of mixed doubles. I just think it's a cool different strategy than even gender doubles.
Yeah.
So it's fun. Yeah.
Besides the two things that you said in terms of you're taller than me and you can hit these maybe that I can't. What about you personally like genuinely thinks like gives you that makeup to be like, "Hey, yeah, I don't care if I'm doing like 25%, 20%, like I can do 0%, like as long as we get to 11 before they do, I'm happy."
Exactly. Yeah, I just want to win. So
Okay.
whatever we can do to win is awesome at the pro level. What I'm experiencing is just that every shot needs to be so precise and just in a good spot because if you leave that dink just a little high, they are hitting that at you or putting it away and it is tough. Yeah.
So let's kind of then wrap that whole thing together because we talked about what happens, when you're doing mixed doubles and your kind of strategy where you're okay with doing that 20 to 25%, 30%, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to label it a percentage. You do enough to win, and that's all that matters. And we talk about the fact that you do like the weekends where you have to play anything. What switch do you have to then do if, when you're playing with your sister, you're doing 50-50, you're playing by yourself, you have to do 100, you're playing with a mixed doubles partner, you have to be willing to maybe the day before when you were with your sister, you were lunging, now you're like, they have it. Like, what's almost the difference between those 3 days you have to go through to prepare?
Yeah, every day is a different strategy. I personally, the day before each event, like to practice with my partner and kind of play some practice games to kind of just get in the rhythm of that. So for singles, it's playing singles, doubles, doubles, and just really communicating with your partner on kind of like who's going to have middle and kind of communicating what side your partner may prefer. Because I do think, in my opinion, more players may start to specialize in a side. I know some already do, but I think that's a big thing. Um, yeah, I hopefully that answers
No, it does.
that.
And the last thing I like to do is I like to bring up actually pickleballtournaments.com, have you kind of, call out some of the tournaments that you've been more successful in during the year. And we can kind of look through those and maybe look at some of the matchups. And we can even just click on some random ones just to jog your memory if you want to. But before that, another thing that we like to do, and I always want to make sure that I get this in, is obviously a player of your stature, someone who's professional, someone who does as much winning and has as much fan recognition as you do genuinely in this sport. You have sponsors. If you would, please for, a few moments and we can walk through as many as you have, whichever ones you want to talk about. Just like go through them and I'll bring them up on screen and we can kind of talk about them, but take it away, please.
Okay, well, I'd love to talk about Selkirk.
Okay, perfect. I knew that's where we were going first. So,
I love being on Team Selkirk,
yes.
and I just joined the team a few months ago, and I am using one of the Selkirk Labs paddles actually, which they're kind of the new thing, the it paddle.
The
Everyone thinks,
the new kids are saying it's the trendy paddle, Mary.
oh, it is. Those Selkirk Labs paddles are awesome. I just know so many of my friends are getting them and loving them. I am now actually using two different paddles. I am using one paddle for singles, which is the 002, and I'm using another paddle for doubles, which just came out, which is called the 003. So I'm trying to see on there if you can.
So I have the Vanguard Power Air, I have the Amped, I have
Okay,
the
you might want to type in Selkirk Labs into Google.
perfect
There
Selkirk
you
Lab.
go.
Selkirk Labs. So you'll get like two different, will you go through multiple paddles even on the same day? Like if one doesn't work or something in your game is just struggling, like how many do you carry in your bag?
So I have two paddles per each one because you just never know if something could happen, but I don't go through paddles very fast. Like I just got a new 002 for singles.
So 002, Project
Yeah,
002.
the Project 002 for me personally has so much power and I love it. And I was using it for doubles, but then I discovered the new 003 Epic shape, which just came out. And I just used it in that match you saw on
Yes.
YouTube.
Yes.
And the amount of control I get in my dinking and resets and overall game is just awesome. And I hope I'm being a good salesperson
No,
because
I was
I
about to say you are, because anyone that
oh,
uses multiple paddles is as good of a salesman as you can be, right? Because now all we have to do is watch you play, and that's, the best sales job that you can. But I'm sure that this was another one of those moments like Drew Brees. Like, how cool was it to be like a sponsored professional athlete?
oh my gosh, when Selkirk believed in both my sister and me, I was so stoked because it's such a family-oriented team, and Mike and Rob, who
Yep.
own it, they're just
Yes.
awesome. I got to meet them in person at TOC, and I just love everyone who's on Selkirk that I know, and I just really recommend their products. So,
They're
yeah.
phenomenal. They're one of the household names. There's really no shilling or advertising that we need to do. If you're in pickleball, you kind of know Selkirk. If you're not in pickleball, um, growing up when I used to go get bats with my dad every season before the new Little League would start, you know the names like Marini and names like that. That's what Selkirk is. I'm not here
Mhm.
to sell you that it's the best, better than anyone, but in that tier one, that's what it is. So if you're looking to get one, this is a great place to start and watch Mary and see how she dominates on the court. If you want to watch it, if you want to watch a little demo in action,
Yes. Hopefully, I'm on the stream soon because that's the
yeah,
thing, like, there's always so many good matches. I'm not just
so
comparing
many.
myself, but just, like, when you look at the draws, it's like, can they all be on TV? Like, I wanna see all of them. So, I'm hoping that there can be even more media coverage of pickleball to come. That will be
I
awesome.
I can't wait for that because I'm legit in there every single day, like watching all those matches. And look, I'm never against any of the ones that they're showing. Literally, I'm never like, oh, I'm not happy to watch this
Yeah.
one. But I'm definitely sometimes like, oh, this other one that's going on, I may want to watch it more or watch it just as much. So the ability to, you know, watch those as well um, would be fun. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
any other sponsors besides Selkirk?
That's good for now. Yeah.
That's good for now. Well, so really, this Selkirk is the sponsor of Mary Brascia for now, as she said so eloquently. The really the top tier paddle that if you're looking to get in the game, and you said for singles you use an 002 and for doubles you use an 003.
Yes.
So if you're
Yeah.
looking to get even specific, those are the
Yeah.
two to look for. No, that's great. Selkirk, a brand that I know the guys, like you said, that own it. Great guys in the community, people that I've never gotten the chance to speak to, but you're now one of a few now that have brought them up and have only had like glowing things to say. And in this space that's growing and a lot of things are going from mom and pop to now these bigger companies, it's fun to see, the Selkirk family not losing the values that they've had.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's go over to the tournaments now and kind of take a journey through the Mary the Mystic season. And
Oh,
it
man.
started with the Newport Beach kickoff. You brought that up earlier, so let's tap into that. Um,
Oh, actually, we should there was a rain delay at this
oh
tournament,
my
so
God, rain.
never mind for that.
Okay, can we start with the Select Medical Orange County Cup? Let's
Sure.
start with the Select. And would you like to start with? Let's start with. Let's see where you went.
Well, this tournament, I think the most exciting thing that happened were two big things. Unfortunately, my sister was sick, so we couldn't play women's, but
Okay,
I had a first-time partnership with Federico,
there
who's
you
like
go.
he's awesome. He is a single star and double star. We're going to be a mixed doubles team to watch this fall.
Wow, wow. Okay. That's
I
a
have
little
a couple
breaking news.
breaking news. We have a couple tournaments together, and I think they'll go awesome. So looking forward to that. And then I also this was kind of my first singles tournament professionally. I think maybe one other I did. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I was really proud of myself because I was able to kind of get together a game off the number one player in the world, Anna Lee, and she's so talented. Honestly, so impressive because
Yeah.
she's so young. But that was cool. You know, they put me on center court and I was so nervous. I lost the first game 11-0, but I
Wow.
kept fighting.
What okay, so genuinely walk me through you go 11-0 in the first game. You know who you're playing, so I'm not talking down to you when I say like, "Oh my god, 11-0 may not be a fluke." We know who Anna Lee is, like she's
Yeah.
the best of the best. Like what inside you allowed you to go 11-5 in the next game?
I mean, I just feel like this is again the thing that does help from tennis and just playing sports in general. I've played so many different sports growing up, and it's that mental toughness to just keep fighting. And even if you aren't as good or your game feels off that day, it's kind of like I'm going to do whatever I can to win. And no, I didn't win the overall match in that one, but I felt pretty proud of myself to get that game. But SoCal Classic was my probably one of
Okay.
the highlights of
Let's
the summer.
go. Let's see what you got going on here. Where do you want to
Probably the singles because
Let's go!
this
Let's
was it.
go! Let's go! So this was in SoCal. Exactly where in SoCal was this?
So this was at the Bobby Riggs Racket and Paddle Club
Wow, okay, so
in
beautiful.
yeah, in Encinitas. I love going down there. I was there last night to play with friends because they have a little group on Wednesday nights. Anyway, just such a good vibe. And so I played singles and I was able to win it all, which it was a tough road because everyone is very good at the professional level. So I just kind of did it. I don't know. I think I just kind of didn't feel any pressure. I just went out. I had been training and I had been practicing and working with different people to just kind of develop some shots and develop some strategy. And it really worked for me. And it was such a special moment because I won the tournament on Father's Day and my
Oh, that's
dad was
great.
there.
Yeah.
And also just being in SoCal where I'm from, I had friends there to support me,
That's sick.
it's like the home-ish town. Like I'm from Orange
Yeah.
County, but like
Okay.
hometown vibe. Yeah.
That's sick. Was that not to say you weren't having success before, but was this the moment that a lot of people really bought into what you were doing, or had people already kind of hopped on the Mary train being a professional pickleballer at this point?
Oh, well, I want to preface that with like I had so many friends so supportive of me on this journey, and I've had my ups and downs thus far, but I feel like this moment was definitely a highlight so far. But I'm really hopeful there are many more medals to come. That would be awesome.
No, I mean, I would very much assume so and put some money that there will be. Sir Pizza in the chat said domination. And yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up.
Thank
Did you
you.
know going into the finals that you hadn't dropped a game up to that point, or is that something you're not aware of?
I actually was not aware of that.
Yeah, we could take you through.
Or maybe
You
did
played
I?
Ali 11-2, 11-0,
Oh,
Lacey
wow.
15-13, 11-8. Then you played Anna once. You took her 12-10, 11-4, and then you played her again and dropped one in the finals. But up until that point, until
Dang.
you dropped that one, you hadn't dropped one. So you didn't know that. So you didn't know up until that point that that was the first one that you had dropped.
I guess now that we're going through it, I'm like remembering each match. And that's the funny thing about seeing these results online. It's like I can vividly remember each one. And oh my gosh, some of those games were super close. Like
Yes. I saw you had a
these
15-13, I think, which is
yes, with
incredible.
Lacey. She's a friend of mine, and we have a tournament together this fall, which will be fun. Um, Anyway, yeah, it was a journey throughout the day to get to that final, but what I will say about the final is that um I think it's that second game, not only did Anna play well the whole day, it was just a battle, but I definitely think I got a little nervous
Okay, really? Okay.
who wouldn't be a little nervous? Like, oh my gosh, I have the chance to maybe win. Like,
I love that. I love that honesty because a lot of people, even if they were feeling it, wouldn't want to say that. Were you? I mean, 11-2 though in the first one. Were you feeling it in the first one, or was it almost like a blur at that point?
honestly, I think what you just said, it's a
Yeah.
blur. Honestly, sometimes these matches are a blur. Like, you just get in the zone and you're focused and you win and you're just like, "Oh my gosh, wow. That's great."
You beat Anna straight up 12-10, 11-4, and she goes on to play Krista. Is
Mhm.
there any like thought in your mind? Is there any like preference or scouting while you're waiting there, or are you just feeling I'm ready to take on whoever gets here for the championship?
Honestly, that because I just feel like with everyone being so good, you just never know who's gonna kind of come through. However, when Anna did come through, I knew she was gonna come back like fired up to kind of get back in it, and it it was close, 3 games. So I was right. I knew she would come back and fight, and we've had a couple singles matches against each other and doubles matches this summer, and it's really nice though because she is such a fair
Mm,
player and she's so talented. Like
I
her
love that.
team won the 100K, right?
Wow.
Yeah, or
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
yeah, the
Yes.
Ranchers they did.
Yes. Yes.
So
I saw that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's very interesting though at the same time. Like right now in the women's singles, I feel like it's a lot of the same
I
people
agree with
kind of
that.
going to
Yeah.
these tournaments. So it's like it's yeah, it's just
Yeah, I
competitive.
was I was in a I'm in a pickleball Discord with a lot of like really big fans of the tour, people that have been around for like longer than me and one that I'm learning about. And that was actually a huge topic of conversation the other day. Like we were going through rankings and we were just saying like and we were looking at it more from like an opportunity, and yes, you can look at anything either way, but like if you one was to get into pickleball, like singles women's looks to be the one where like you could potentially maybe move up quite quick because after those top people that you said continually kind of recycle, there is that little bit of drop off. So I do agree with that, but still there's enough that you're still getting that variety where it's not like, oh my God, it's her versus her again. So not enough to worry about, but definitely an opportunity for young girls that,
Yeah,
maybe star tennis players but in high school but don't have a college scholarship or know they're not going to do anything with life or maybe just don't love it.
yeah,
Another opportunity is sitting there waiting for them.
100%. Like just pickleball in general, I'm expecting a lot more girls and guys that are younger. Like, I mean, personally, I feel like this is my time right now because I did just finish school. And while I'm so happy with that, and I'm excited to see what opportunities come in my future. I feel like right now it's nice because I didn't have like a full-time job or anything lined up. And I know a lot of these pros, which I commend, they are balancing like two different things, which that's even more impressive to me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's kind of going to be interesting to see as the younger people, and I'm noticing pickleball junior academies, like
Yes.
maybe that's going to get big. I know pickleball in colleges in general is becoming a lot bigger,
Oh
which
my
is
God.
awesome.
Yes.
I want to like go and have fun with everyone in college and be like, let's
Yeah.
play pickleball and show
I'm
up on
not
the
too sure
weekend.
what state of mind those college kids are playing at tailgate and what caliber of games
Same.
are going on. But yes, I'm with you. I would
Are
love
you
to maybe,
envisioning
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
seeing? How fun would that be? Like,
yeah. So imagining 5 people on each side stumbling around with a racket with three pickleballs going back and forth. But
yeah,
yeah, but like we're joking, but that's it, right? Like that's what you can do with it that allows you to have fun. Like, yeah, would you like to play like a normal game? But you can also just set up a net at a tailgate. We did it at the beach the other day with my buddies in Rehoboth in Delaware. Set up a nice net that we had and just some paddles, and we were playing, and it really lends itself to that. So college makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah, and yeah, just the access people can have to it. It's pretty accessible, and I just know more facilities are being built. And I was going to say, those places like Chicken and Pickle, where
Yes.
it's food and pickleball, and then they have like cornhole. I know some states call it bags, I think. I
Yeah,
don't know.
not us. Not us
Oh,
here.
okay.
I'm in New York.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, not
Got
bags,
it.
cornhole.
Okay, I call it cornhole too.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's just like a fun entertainment type of place, and it just brings people together. Like, I don't know anyone personally that has played, and maybe I'm forgetting someone, but everyone I know has liked it, that has tried
Yeah.
it.
I know someone that I don't know if it's specifically chicken and pickle, but in my area is trying to franchise some sort of thing like that. And I'm struggling right now. I'm in New York, specifically the New York, not in New York City, but in the New York City greater area, right outside in Westchester. And to be quite honest, there's a lack of indoor clubs and pickleball places where me and my friends are already looking and like willing to sign up for like a winter club where we play a monthly fee, and where the outside parks and rec places in my area have made that switch, those inside places are kind of falling behind. So I'm just waiting for chicken and pickle and these places like you're talking about to arise, and it's coming. I know, I'm just hoping it gets here in the next few months for this winter. I have no qualms about the fact that in the future it will definitely be here, but I'm like, let's go, let's go. But I'll
Let's
play
go.
if it's not raining or snowing, I'll play outside. So I'm pretty
Yeah,
good at that from that standpoint.
yeah.
Is this the best day professionally of your life, winning this match?
Thus far, I think this was one of my best, yes.
When you
So,
say one of the, there must be something else that's like coming to mind. What else could
well,
potentially, or do you just think that there might be something else out there?
Since I've been playing more seriously, I was very fortunate to actually win the next weekend here again in or LA, so kind of a little more north in
So you're
singles.
just you don't want to see a Brascia girl in her home state because you guys are just
Maybe
running
that's
around.
it.
You guys are just
No,
running
but
around.
that
Oh,
was
again! Oh my god! And wait, was this so you and Anna Bright? Do you guys have a thing developing here?
that's what I'm saying. Like, in the month of June, I feel like we did play each other a lot. And that's why I was, though, happy. Like, the matches were just so close, but also so fair. And yeah, it was awesome. That tournament was really fun. My dog came. So, I
Oh,
mean,
what type
when
of
your
dog do you
dog's
have?
there, you're going to do well. A Labradoodle.
Okay,
So,
I have a Bernice. I have a mini Bernedoodle. So we both have the
nice.
doodle mix. Yeah. Uh,
Woo! Doodles.
um. So okay, putting you on the spot, have to choose one. This tournament or the week before, were you happier at the end of it?
I think SoCal, the first one, just because it was my first title,
I get
and
that.
it was just so special again for the reasons I said before. It was a great moment. And then June in general, usually each year since I've been playing, there's a swing of tournaments in California in June. So it's a great way to start the summer. The weather's great and pickleball. And my sister and I got a silver in the where is it? Oh, the Consumer Cellular one, and that's at the TTC Newport Beach. We play there a lot, so it's just kind of fun. Yeah, to have the home vibes.
Wow. Wow. I might have to do a show specifically just breaking down you and Anna going at it on each other around the tour. I think again as just someone who's a fan and likes to follow the professional side of it, stuff like that's good about it. I asked Tyler Loong about this last night when we were talking about the TOC. I was like, "Did you like when like Riley says what he says after him and Matt won in terms of like, did you see Ben hold up the finger? And he was like, yeah, like that kind of lit our fire. So things like this, even if the individual's involved with it, it's a little uncomfortable or something that they're not used to in this competitive setting quite yet. For us, I can tell you, like, we love this stuff.
Ah, that's funny. Yeah, definitely. I was talking with a friend today just about, man, I feel like so many things we're bringing up I've like talked about recently with people, but um just having those characters in pickleball and just it brings entertainment, and I think it's just a great thing when those
The last thing I
rivalries.
want to ask you about those wins
Oh yeah.
is only you know what an A plus game is for Mary. What would you rate yourself across those tournaments? Like say you're just giving yourself a general grade on a report card. Like what would you say your level of playing was in those tournaments?
In those specific 2
Yeah.
singles tournaments I won, I would give myself an A because I was hitting the lines. Like, the shots I was hitting were just on, and I feel like I don't know, sometimes that happens. Uh, I don't know, I is
Did you
that is
feel it
that
in the moment? Were you feeling it in the moment, or
I feel
again,
like
is it something when it's happening?
again, it's kind of that, like, being in the zone, I
I love
guess, and
that.
just focusing, and pickleball requires so much focus because as I keep repeating, like you leave something a little high, someone's going to smash it. And I feel like from my background in tennis, there's a little more margin because the court's just a little bigger and you can kind of run things down more. I don't know. That's just how I feel. But you just have to focus every point. And especially in an MLP setting, where it's rally scoring and every point counts, that's even more focus because you miss a third shot drop, it's point to the other team.
Yeah.
So
And that's something that I struggle with someone who has severe self-diagnosed ADD. When I'm playing kitchen control and like it's like dink, 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 dink. Okay, my anxiety kicks in. I gotta try and win the point, and I'll just like smash it. And at this point, the people that I have been playing with for so long know that okay, you just gotta play long enough with Zook, where if you just hit it back to him, eventually he's gonna go for it, and more times than not, he's gonna miss. But yeah, that's it's you're playing for that mistake, but sitting there and you have to be willing to take advantage of it every single time, knowing that more times than not, the next one isn't going to be that one, but knowing that it always could be.
exactly. Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole, thesis of the game right there. And I appreciate you taking the time to have this conversation, Mary. I want to plug where people can find you. I don't believe you're on Twitter, right? But you are on Instagram.
No, yeah, not on Twitter, but Mary Brascia Pickleball. You can find me there.
You can find her there. And how about where you're going to be playing over the next few weeks?
I will be in Chicago next over Labor Day weekend.
Everyone's going to Chicago. This is going to be a really exciting tournament. I'm excited for the names that are going to be there.
Yeah, I'm excited to go, and I have a lot of upcoming tournaments, so I'm excited.
And anything from, I know you said you did some stuff with like Duper, anything on the content side or doing stuff with pickleball outside of actually playing on the court that people can look out for?
Yeah, please be looking out for content because I graduated with a film degree.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm really hoping to combine that with pickleball, and I have been brainstorming over the past few weeks and I'm getting some stuff in the works. So, I'm really excited to start producing some stuff and kind of like combining things I love.
That's
So,
awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I lived with my two roommates in college throughout all my years were film students, so I
Nice.
kind of catch that drift. The one thing that I will say, and I don't want to call you out, but it is tough to watch movies with film students because sometimes when I'm
Yeah.
just sitting there and watching something, they're like, the lighting's off, or this shot is off, or this is off, and I'm like, yo, it's like two magicians dueling. Like,
Yeah.
we're buying into that. I can buy into like the lighting be a little bit being a little off, but no, again, another example of it started with pickleball being a passion, turning it into something. I have no doubt that you can now take another passion of yours, which is filmmaking, that you have a degree in, combine it with pickleball and do something fun with it. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Last thing is you have to promise me next time that you and Maggie get on a podium, we'll obviously be watching. I'll hit you up, and then next week we can have you and her come back on the show. We can do a deep dive into you guys together playing and kind of a rundown of the whole tournament and what led you getting to that podium that weekend.
Oh yeah, no, my sister and I would love to come on the show because we love being a sister team and
Yeah,
talking about that. So she's busy being back to school this week.
yeah.
She just started her second year of college, but we'd love to come back. Yeah,
Beautiful. So yeah, I don't think it'll be too long before you guys are on that podium. So
hopefully
we'll
not.
keep our fingers crossed. But genuinely, Mary, thank you so much. We'll be circling this around. We'll be sharing your content. We know where people can find you on your Instagram to check out some stories and stuff like that. But until next weekend, when we can see you on the big screen and hopefully they're sharing your matches, have a good week, have a good weekend, and we will see you kicking some butt out in Chicago.
Thank you so much, and thanks for everyone who tuned in. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.